Hi, and welcome back to our website building series of video tutorials. We have here the same thing we were working on last time in part 2, and this time we're going to start using the knife tool to make our footer and the area that will become our banner. So let's get to it. Here you can see all the same rectangles we had before, and what we're going to do today is really focus on the footer rectangle and the header rectangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is lock all of these others. So the spare rectangle, the background rectangle, and I'm going to leave the footer rectangle unlocked for now, but right now I'm going to lock the header and I'm going to lock the outline. And I'm also going to uncheck the visibility of everything but the one I'm working on. And so you'll see when I uncheck the visibility of the background rectangle, you go from having your glow to having just this rectangle. Now with the footer unchecked, this should be the only one left available, and you can check that by kind of mousing it around, and then when you're done, you've made sure that there are no other rectangles underneath. Just hit Control Z, and back you go. Now, as I said before, we're going to be using the knife tool. The knife tool can be kind of dangerous, much like most knives are, and if you don't use it properly, you can end up really messing up your site. So just for an example, if you kind of mouse and cut like that, what the knife tool does is when you let it go, you end up with two distinct sections. And you'll see, whoops, they're both selected over here. Let me unselect. We have this bottom section that now we can pull around and move separately. Now obviously that's not ideal, so I'm going to undo until I get just the one rectangle back, and you can see here we are back to one whole footer. So we're going to use our knife tool very carefully. We're going to grab the knife, and we're going to come over here and we're going to aim for the area that is above where this curve hits. That will allow us to provide a nice little bar of color here, just a simple little footer for our website, someplace where we can put in maybe website information, email address, or whatever we may choose to put down in the footer. So it's just going to be a little placeholder for now. And we want to make sure it's above this curve so there's no risk of kind of getting a weird little, half white curve here and then like green or something down here. So I'm going to aim right around here, and I'm going to hold down Shift before I click anything. And then I'm going to click and drag. Now what Shift does is, you could see last time I drew a diagonal knife, Shift holds this in place, locks it on the horizontal in this case, and allows me to drag right over here, and no matter if I'm off a little bit, it will still be okay. Now if I let go of Shift, you'll see now the line's locking around, wandering up here, and if I press Shift again, back to the horizontal. It's very important when using the knife tool that you let go of the mouse button before you let go of Shift, because if you let go of Shift first, again, you end up with this line. If you are holding Shift down, then when you let go of the mouse button, it cuts in a nice straight line like that, and now you can let go of Shift. First thing we're going to do, get back to our selection tool. And you'll see over here that our footer rectangle has now changed into two paths. One of them, this one, is the big rectangle up top, and you can actually see this in the little icon right there. The other one, you can see the background and then a little rectangle down on the bottom. That is where we're going to make our footer. So we're going to select just our upper rectangle, and we are going to get rid of it. Hit delete, and you'll see the top one disappears. We're left with only the bottom one. And this is what's going to become our new footer. Now we just drop by here, we have our fill options, and we're just going to choose kind of a dark green for now. And now we have a nice bar of color down here at the bottom, and if we put the other rectangle's visibility back on, you can see I just did the background for the glow. You can see that now we have made a little bit of progress in terms of designing our website. Now again, a lot of this white space here is going to remain for when we work with with Dreamweaver later. But now let's uncheck our background, uncheck our footer, and lock it. And let's put our header rectangle back on and unlock that one so we can work with it. This time we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to leave enough space for our header. Now headers can vary in size. We're going to just kind of pick one. You may want to do some math and figure out some pixel widths and all that if you so choose, but for our purposes we're just going to make a reasonably sized header area. So this will be what contains eventually our banner for our class. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Hold down Shift, pick your selection spot, click, and drag. And if you don't like how that works, say for example you decide, well, I wish it had been kind of a bigger banner area, hit Control Z until you see this rectangle become whole again. Make sure you've still got your knife tool, and just aim a little lower, and click and drag. And we're going to go with that, about this size. So again, let go of the mouse before you let go of click. You'll see our path doubles. Selection tool right away. Never stick with the knife tool because you're going to end up cutting something you don't want to. Select now the bottommost rectangle, and we're going to delete that. And now, just for differentiation, we can always come back and change this later. But I'm going to change this to a dark green as well. I think this green is actually a little darker than the footer, but that's okay. It'll give some deviation in color. And again, we'll work with this one more later. So I'm going to turn on the visibility of all my non-outline. Remember, the outline rectangles we're not working with yet. Of all the other rectangles. And you see that we now have a website that's starting to shape up. We're going to put something in here next time. We've got this to work with, and we can start working with our white space. So make sure, as always, that you save your work at the end, and good luck. I will see you next time for the next step. Have a great day.